Good evening. I'm Larry Agran, Mayor of Irvine, and thank you. Thank you. I'm very pleased to see so many wonderful people here tonight. The festivities of this State of the City presentation take place in the context of a city council meeting, which actually began this afternoon. Those are all just technical explanations of where we are in the agenda. This is the Irvine City Council special meeting of March 11th, 2025. It has been reconvened at 5:44. With that, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to rise if you're able for the pledge and remain standing after the pledge for the national anthem. At this time, to lead us in the pledge, I'd like to invite forward Isabel Gann, senior at Portola High School, and Catherine Lau, junior at Sage Hill School, to lead us in the pledge. And I might add that these two fine young women served as interns with my office and have outstanding futures ahead of them. Would you please rise if you're able?
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Standing. Thank you very, very much. At this time, all right, Carl, I already need help here. There we are. At this time, we're going to have a musical presentation, of course, for the national anthem. This is inviting forward Portola High School vocal quartet under the leadership of David Polanco, Assistant Director, and comprised of Sarah Hyder, Golsa Kamsania, Deep Goswami, and Luke Chow. They'll be performing the national anthem, followed by America the Beautiful. Welcome.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Carl? All right. You'll have to come back for a performance of America the Beautiful on another evening. Thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to turn things over to Vice Mayor James Mai, who will be making a number of introductions of elected officials in attendance tonight. So thank you, James, and thank you for being such a terrific Vice Mayor, by the way.
Thank you, Mayor Agran. Good evening, everyone. I am Vice Mayor James Mai, proudly representing the 3rd District of Irvine, and it is my honor to welcome you to the 2025 State of the City address. We live in a truly exceptional community, one that thrives on innovation and opportunity. From our top-tier schools to our beautiful parks, Irvine continues to be a place where families grow, businesses succeed, and cultures come together. It is a city that embodies progress and opportunity for all, and I'm excited about the future we are building here together. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the distinguished elected officials and former Irvine mayors who are with us today. We're honored to have the following elected officials in attendance tonight. Please stand and be recognized as I call your name. Katrina Foley, 5th District Supervisor, Orange County Board of Supervisors. Carolyn Inman, President, South Orange County Community College District Board of Trustees. Ryan Dack, Member, South Orange County Community College District Board of Trustees. Kathy Copeland, PhD, Member, Tustin Unified School District Board of Education. Allison Muniz Damicolas, Member, Tustin Unified School District Board of Education. Mayor Ted Bui, Fountain Valley. We are also grateful for the dedicated service of the past Irvine mayors, some of whom are with us here tonight in the front row. Suki Kang, former mayor. Farah Khan, former mayor. And Christina Shea, former mayor. Several officials who represent Irvine at the state and federal level were not able to attend tonight at the State of the City due to their obligations in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. But I would also like to thank the following officials who have their staff here representing their offices tonight. Please wave or stand if you are in the audience. Governor Gavin Newsom. Wow, okay. U.S. Representatives David Min.
There he is.
State Senator Stephen Choi. Assemblywoman Kati Petri-Norris. Let's give them all a hand of applause. If there are any elected officials I may have missed, please stand so we can recognize you as well. Thank you for being here and your commitment to our shared community. All right. Mayor Agran was first elected to Irvine City Council in 1978 through 1990, of which 6 years he served as mayor. He returned to public service on the Irvine City Council in November 1998 through 2014, including 4 years as mayor. Mayor Agran once again returned to public service as city council member in November 2020 and was elected mayor in this last cycle in November 2024. Under Mayor Agran's leadership, Irvine received recognition for its pioneering programs in childcare, affordable housing, recycling, and open space preservation. He was also especially active in establishing the Great Park at the former El Toro Marine Corps Air Station. As a highly respected public interest attorney and public policy expert, Mayor Agran has led several nonprofit organizations and has served as legal counsel to the California State Senate Committee Counsel to the California State Senate Committee on Health and Welfare, and has taught legislation and public policy at UCLA School of Law and the Paul Merage School of Business at UCI. Mayor Agran resides in Irvine with his wife, Phyllis, a pediatrician, who is also Orange County Physician of the Year in 2024. Their son, Ken, and daughter-in-law, Carrie, have 2 children, Morgan Elizabeth Agran and Benjamin Sawyer Agran. On a personal note, Mayor Agran and I have had the honor of serving as vice mayor and mayor. We come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and even different generations. But what unites us is a deep love for the city of Irvine. Mayor Agran, I want to thank you for your leadership, your guidance, your friendship. Your dedication to the city is inspiring, and I'm grateful to serve alongside you. It is now my pleasure to introduce and call forward Mayor Lair Agran to deliver tonight's State of the City address.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for such a warm welcome. Thank you, Vice Mayor Mai, for your very kind words and your continued leadership. It's truly an honor to work alongside such a dedicated and talented group of individuals committed to our community's well-being and future. I'm referring, of course, to my council colleagues. We're part of a new and expanded city council. 6 of our 7 seats now are filled, and each of us comes and brings a unique perspective and invaluable experience to our council. So I'd like to introduce them by district, if I could at this time. First, Council Member Melinda Liu, who proudly represents District 1. Next, Council Member William Go, who represents District 2, and that includes the Great Park. Council Member and Vice Mayor James Mai, representing District 3 in the center of our city. Council Member Mike Carroll, who represents District 4. And Council Member Kathleen Treseder, who is serving in an at-large capacity while she represents the entire city. She lives in what is District 6, which will be up for election in 2026. Kathleen, please sign. And I just want to take an opportunity now to reintroduce former mayors who are present with us tonight. You know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm an old dog, and I've learned a lot of tricks from them because I've served with each of them. Just outstanding public servants. Let me begin with Suki Kang again, who served in the early 2000s. and did a wonderful job as mayor. I most recently served with Mayor Farah Khan. Please stand. Who taught me a lot, particularly in the last couple of years as we've tried to heal our community in the face of a number of rifts. And I think she did an outstanding job of leadership in that regard. And I'd like to introduce Christina Shea. Longtime council member and mayor, who also served our city at a time of real strife during the COVID pandemic. So, having introduced them, are there any people who regard themselves as dignitaries who haven't been introduced? If so, now's your chance. I again want to thank you all for being here and for contributing what you do to our community, to our city of Irvine. In the early part of each new year in cities across America, not just here, but in cities across America, mayors deliver their State of the City speeches. Here in Irvine, it's now my honor to do so, right here at our City Hall, in this beautiful City Hall and Council chamber. Tonight, I want you to know that I am very grateful for this honor, and I feel privileged as the mayor of Irvine to be standing here. Actually, now that Phyllis and I are both official octogenarians, we feel privileged to be standing anywhere. In truth, standing before you now, I feel more energized and more optimistic than ever before about our city and our future together here in Irvine. So let me begin tonight with a clear, definitive statement. The state of our city, our beautiful, master-planned city of Irvine, is excellent. Our financial underpinnings are strong, our budgets are balanced, and our reserves are extraordinarily large. At this moment in our city's history, we're once again poised to make major public investments that will build an even brighter future for the entire Irvine community. Incorporated as a city in December 1971, Irvine has been a self-governed municipality for only 53 years. It takes somebody who's 80 years old to say 53 years is a small amount of time. During that relatively brief period, successive generations of Irvine citizens have worked together to first imagine and then create a truly remarkable city. Irvine's success has been based on the shared conviction that it's better to grow a new city in accordance with a master plan and careful strategic planning rather than leaving growth and development to chance. We have every right to be proud of our achievements over the decades, and yet I know most of us want our city to be an even better place to live, learn, work, and play. So I ask you tonight to join me in embracing a shared aspiration. Together, let's do what we can to make Irvine not only America's best planned city, but also to make Irvine the safest, smartest, greenest, healthiest, and kindest city in America. So what do I mean when I say America's safest, smartest, greenest, healthiest, and kindest city? Excuse me. I, at this point, at this point, I'd like to have our police officers escort these individuals out. Hey, sit. This is nothing compared to what we've seen before in this chamber. We celebrate the right of free speech in this city. At the same time, we know there are appropriate time, place, and manner rules that help us live together as a civilized society. So, what do I mean when I say America's safest, smartest, greenest, healthiest, and kindest city? Let me explain, taking it one category at a time. First, let's talk about public safety. Here at City Hall, just as in Sacramento and Washington, D.C., the topmost priority of government at any level is to keep people safe. Traditionally, when we think of what public safety means at the local level, we think of our police department and its mission to protect the public from violent crime, murders, robberies, violent assaults. These are the kinds of vicious crimes that victimize not just individuals and families, they also diminish the sense of security and the quality of life for everyone. When I was last mayor, from 2000 to 2004, our once small city of just 10,000 people had grown to more than 200,000 people. We entered the ranks of America's bigger cities. In fact, at that time, we were among the 100 largest cities in the United States in terms of population. Now, with 330,000 residents, we're America's 60th largest city. Bigger than Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Cincinnati, Ohio, and many other large American cities that took nearly 2 centuries to reach their current size. So when I was mayor in 2001, 24 years ago, I set a goal for our city to make Irvine America's safest city as measured by FBI statistics on violent crime for cities with more than 200,000 people. To reach this goal, we hired the best and the brightest, including a new police chief named Michael Burko. We instituted new crime prevention strategies, including citywide geo-policing and neighborhood community policing. And all of our police officers were assigned to be closer to the people, including at our Irvine schools. Our police officers were rigorously trained in what Chief Burko called constitutional policing, enforcing the law while always respecting people's rights. I'm pleased to report that it all worked. By 2005, we did it. We had become America's #1 safest city, a public safety national ranking that our remarkable police department has managed to hold for 20 consecutive years. I'd like to ask at this time Chief Michael Kent and a number of our Irvine police officers who are here tonight to please stand so we might acknowledge your outstanding work. They're on duty even tonight. Proud as we are of our top national ranking, we know we can always do better in keeping people safe from violence. This includes avoidable injury and deaths in connection with vehicular violence, which year in and year out continues to be the leading source of avoidable deaths in Irvine. The simple truth is that we need to do better. We need stepped-up law enforcement to curtail speeding and to apprehend red light runners, street racers, and yes, drunk drivers. And we need new, stronger strategies to protect pedestrians, young and old alike, from the dangers associated with e-bikes. We need to adopt strong local policies and enforceable ordinances that provide for mandatory licensing, regulation, and strict controls placed on e-bikes. Let's apply a little common sense here. As a practical matter, most e-bikes are not bicycles at all in the traditional sense. They are more accurately described as electric-powered motorcycles, and they should be regulated and controlled accordingly. To truly be America's safest city, we need to move ahead with a series of strategic plans to meet public safety challenges. We need plans for enhanced security at our schools. We need plans for pilot programs to improve pool safety and prevent child drownings. And we need updated strategic plans to protect our city and our people in the face of truly catastrophic events: earthquakes, wildfires, floods, and toxic contamination. We need to be sure that our 2-year city budget, which we'll adopt in June, includes ample funding for strategic public safety planning to prevent bad things from happening when we can, and when we can't, to mitigate the harm to our residents and businesses. While we aspire to be America's safest city in all respects, we also aspire to be America's smartest city. But when we say America's smartest city, what do we mean? As I see it, there are two principal aspects to being a smart city. Of course, what immediately comes to mind is a city with good schools, a strong public education system, a city with good colleges, universities, and lots of smart grown-ups with advanced degrees. I want to come back to all that in a few minutes. But right now, let's talk about another component of being a smart city. That component is the city government itself. A city government with a smart workforce right here at City Hall and in all of our city's operations. Just how smart is our local government? I can tell you from years of personal experience, working first as a young lawyer at the state capitol in Sacramento, followed by many years of public service as an elected official here in Irvine. I can tell you without hesitation that our Irvine city government, your Irvine city government, with its workforce of some 1,500 people, is very, very smart. I'll go further. I believe our city's workforce is the best educated, best trained, best equipped, and most productive municipal workforce in the entire United States. They do it all. They deliver the police services and the top-notch social services, senior services, and family and child care services. They oversee our community centers and our fine arts facilities. They maintain the roads and parks and recreation facilities, as well as the streetscapes and landscapes that make our city so beautiful. And they are always searching for best practices, for ways to do their everyday work better, more efficiently, in short, smarter. At a time when career public employees are being denigrated and viciously attacked by politicians at the very highest levels, especially in Washington, D.C., I want you to know that the City of Irvine public servants we rely upon every day are exemplars of competence, not chaos, compassion, not cruelty. Now, let me take this opportunity to introduce Irvine's first city librarian, Julie Zioli. Julie? There we are. Julie will be heading up our Irvine library operation with a 53-member workforce. We so appreciate your being here to be recognized. That we have hired you as our first city librarian is going to be a real milestone in this city's progress. You see, when we talk about smart city government, we also talk about making smart institutional changes that will benefit our citizens in big ways. After years of tough negotiations and planning, led by our city manager, Oliver Chi, and Community Services Director, Chris Slama, effective this summer, our city will be taking ownership of the county libraries in Irvine and will begin operating them as our own. Later this year, Irvine citizens will begin to see improvements in our libraries, improved physical changes, improved maintenance, some remodeling and planned enlargement of our libraries, and significantly improved library services. You'll be hearing much more about all this in the weeks ahead. And you'll also be hearing more about preliminary plans we're developing for 2 new libraries in Irvine. One at the Great Park and another in Woodbridge. There we are. And the one in Woodbridge will likely be at the Woodbridge Village Center, where the Barnes & Noble bookstore operated for years. Right now, we're working with the Irvine Company on that possibility. I'd be remiss if I failed to mention some wonderful Irvine volunteers who I think are at home tonight, but I want to recognize them nevertheless. These are the Friends of the Library groups who over many years have invested thousands of hours and raised many hundreds of thousands of dollars to support our libraries and make books available to generations of readers. In the process, they continue to uplift our entire Irvine community. These true friends of our libraries, I believe, will be instrumental in the successful transition to an Irvine library system that will, in time, be ranked among the best city library systems in America. Let's do it. Now I want to take a small detour to say a few words about compensation for our public employees. For many years, I've believed that in order to recruit and retain a smart and highly motivated workforce, we have to be prepared to pay our city employees well. That has been our city's policy for decades. And from every perspective, it has been successful. The city of Irvine ranks among the most desirable large workplaces in Orange County. I'm pleased to report that just a few weeks ago, we successfully concluded interim negotiations with our several public employee unions. The agreements that we reached guarantee continued labor peace with appropriate pay adjustments that will fit well within our projected budgets for the next 4 years. We also established that the city's workers who are not in a public employee union, these include our lowest paid hourly city employees. They'll now be paid not a state-mandated minimum wage of just $16.50 per hour, but a City of Irvine living wage of at least $20 per hour for part-time hourly workers and at least $25 per hour for full-time hourly workers. Now, let's talk about being the smartest city in traditional terms of education. Irvine schools are not run by the city of Irvine. In fact, they are California state schools. They're governed by the 5-member school board of the Irvine Unified School District and, in the northwestern part of our city, by the 5-member school board of the Tustin Unified School District. While IUSD and TUSD are independent entities, everyone in Irvine has a stake in the success of our public schools. Irvine schools are among the highest ranking schools in California, and we want to keep it that way. That's why, year after year, the city of Irvine includes in our budgets about $10 million in cash grants and in-kind services that we provide for Irvine schools, for crossing guards, school resource officers, assistance with school bus transportation, as well as matching grants to enhance classroom education and for after-school activities. Tonight, I'm asking that we put in our soon-to-be-adopted city budget additional funds to support Irvine schools, including at least $100,000 in added funding earmarked for at least another 50 City of Irvine scholarships. These would be up to $2,000 each. These scholarships would be awarded to Irvine high school students who will be attending Irvine Valley College as an affordable first step in their quest for higher education. For the record, Irvine Valley College is ranked as California's #1 community college. It's a higher education gem that frankly is hidden in plain sight right here in the middle of our city. Anything that we can do to promote its growth and sustained excellence is a smart investment for our entire Irvine community. I'd like to take just a moment to reintroduce two remarkable public servants and have them again be recognized. Carolyn Inman, President of the Board of Trustees of the South Orange County Community College District, and Ryan Dack, her colleague, who is also a trustee. And we are extra fortunate that both of them actually live in Irvine and have lived here for quite a while. We look forward to working together with you much more in the months and years ahead. All right. In addition to aspiring to be the safest city and smartest city in America, we aspire to be America's greenest city as well. That requires us to display bold leadership that can at once safeguard our Irvine community and serve to inspire others locally, nationally, and even globally. This past year, we quietly began implementing a remarkable deal to shut down the All-American asphalt plant in North Irvine. Finally eliminating the source of massive toxic air pollution from Orange County's largest industrial polluter. The deal we struck involved the transfer of 700 acres of Irvine Company land to the city of Irvine. This allowed us to replace the asphalt plant with a vast open space preserve. We call it the Gateway Preserve, that will forever add beauty and value to our lives. I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank our hardworking city staff on this project, especially City Manager Oliver Chi and our City Attorney Jeff Melching. I want to also thank my council colleagues, all of them, but especially Mike Carroll, the Irvine Company, and the scores of North Irvine citizen activists who were all key partners in securing this deal. As we have learned throughout our city's history, in meeting major environmental challenges, leadership matters. It makes the critical difference. Let me tell you a little story about a big deal. 35 years ago, the most immediate existential threat to our global environment was the growing hole in the Earth's stratospheric ozone layer. Of course, the ozone layer is what protects us from the sun's harmful rays. Working right here at UC Irvine, Professor Sherwood Rowland, along with a team of brilliant atmospheric chemists, discovered that man-made chlorofluorocarbons, known as CFCs, as well as other ozone-depleting compounds used in spray cans, refrigerants, and certain industrial operations, these were responsible for the damage to the stratospheric ozone layer. As a matter of public policy, if we could control and even eliminate the use of these compounds, further damage to the ozone layer would be halted, and the ozone layer would begin to repair itself. At that time, I began meeting with Professor Rowland, and as mayor, I was fortunate to gain city council and community support to enact the world's first comprehensive municipal ordinance to locally eliminate CFCs and other ozone-depleting compounds. Our action actually, yes. Our action actually made the front page of the New York Times, and it was very big news around the world. Soon, other cities, counties, and states took action. Cities and citizens became part of a movement that led to international agreements and industrial controls to actually eliminate CFCs and allow the repair of the ozone layer to begin. And just a few years ago, Bloomberg News recounted this history, noting that the ozone layer was now on schedule to be fully restored and recovered by mid-century. Bloomberg credited Irvine with, in their words, kickstarting the global movement that spared humanity a terrible fate. Yes, I say again, Irvine leadership matters. Professor Rowland passed away in 2012, but not before he won the Nobel Prize for his research in atmospheric chemistry. Over the years, he shared his insights into what we then called the greenhouse gases or global warming issue. Of course, today we tend to use the broader term climate change. I remember asking Professor Rowland, as a practical matter, what could our country do to meet the emerging climate crisis? He said, basically, there are two things. First, he said, drastically reduce reliance on fossil fuels by shifting to renewables, especially solar, to generate electricity. And the second thing he suggested was to plant trees, billions of trees, to clean our air, cool our cities, and sequester carbon. He even suggested we plant a great American forest, many billions of trees, a forest big enough, he said, to cover the state of Georgia, and I added, how about Mississippi and Alabama as well? Well, Professor Rowland's imagined 21st century Great American Forest never happened. But maybe we can get things going by creating our own 21st century urban forests, beginning with planting many tens of thousands of trees right here in Irvine, including 20,000 trees right away in our great park. And let's see if we can kickstart worldwide tree planting while adding to Irvine's growing reputation as the most tree-friendly city in Southern California. And let's be ever mindful of the Chinese proverb, which is my favorite. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. And let's also remember Professor Rowland's advice about harnessing solar power and reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. It's time for our city government to organize and help fund our own City of Irvine program to install solar rooftop and battery storage systems, tens of thousands of these systems, on residential and business rooftops throughout our city. This will dramatically reduce our dependence on electricity generated by fossil fuels and bring remarkable savings to homeowners and businesses alike. Let's identify the funding sources and plan on becoming America's leading city in transitioning to rooftop solar and battery storage systems, and let's get started this year, right now. Also, after years of struggle and setbacks in promoting non-polluting transit in Irvine, it looks as though we're beginning to experience real success with the fledgling Irvine Connect bus system. This crosstown pilot project transit system, launched last year by then Mayor Farrah Khan, experienced steady growth in Irvine ridership throughout the summer and fall, and we expect more growth in ridership this year. I'm pleased to report that a few weeks ago, the City Council supported Councilmember Kathleen Treseder's proposal to provide for a major expansion of the Irvine Connect system, mostly to include Central and South Irvine. I'm told by City Manager Chi that we can expect to see additional Irvine Connect routes implemented this summer and fall. So, yes, we aspire to be America's safest, smartest, and greenest city. But that's not enough. We should aspire to be America's healthiest city as well. Let me explain. Exactly 5 years ago today, on March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 outbreak a global pandemic. Days later, Governor Gavin Newsom began issuing emergency orders, essentially shutting down the state and enlisting local governments across California to help control the pandemic. The truth of the matter is that, like most cities in our state and in our nation, we were unprepared for what hit us. Nevertheless, under the leadership of successive councils, led by then Mayor Christina Shea, who's with us tonight, followed by Mayor Farrah Khan, we did better than most Orange County cities. But by the time the pandemic was over, more than 200 Irvine residents, family, friends, our dear neighbors, were lost to COVID. According to epidemiologists and community health experts, if we had been better prepared, perhaps half of those who perished could have been saved. We learned many lessons from that tragic period. Most of all, we learned that we had a lot of work to do in Irvine and throughout Orange County to improve all aspects of public health: individual and family health, physical health and mental health, school health, and community health. We learned that we need to improve our performance in every one of these categories. And we need to do better to educate our citizens, improve public hygiene, and yes, get our vaccination rates up right away. We also learned that we have to focus more attention on what are called the social determinants of health, including the adverse determinants such as the lack of decent, affordable housing and the lack of access to quality health care. And we have to confront and overcome food and nutrition insecurity and child poverty that exists in our midst. I'm pleased to report that City Manager Oliver Chi has initiated a multi-year, multi-pronged effort to organize our very own City of Irvine Office of Health and Wellness. We are organizing resources in a way that expands our city's capacity to deliver not only health services, but all kinds of social support services and human services that allow us to realize our vision of health and wellness for everyone in Irvine. The chief director of our newly created Irvine Office of Health and Wellness is Heather Stratman, who reports directly to Assistant City Manager Brian King and City Manager Oliver Chi. Heather and Brian, if you're with us, would you please stand so people can get to know you? There we are. You're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more from them. Just 2 weeks ago, the City Council approved the bylaws for a new 11-member Health and Wellness Advisory Committee, which will help us organize and accelerate our efforts to make Irvine the healthiest city in America. Our Office of Health and Wellness will be enlisting an array of institutional partners. Included among these will be four, count them, four amazing billion-dollar hospitals and medical centers here in Irvine, each with many hundreds of extraordinarily talented health professionals. You probably know them: Kaiser Permanente, UCI Hospital and Medical Center, City of Hope, and Hoag Hospital. These organizations and others deliver much more than excellent hospital and healthcare services. They are increasingly committed to best practices that involve providing what are called wraparound mental health and social services through their networks of outstanding nonprofit organizations. So now it's my privilege and it's my pleasure to make what is truly an important announcement. We've been informed by the Hoag Hospital Board of Directors of their intent to make a major gift to the city of Irvine. Hoag will be donating tens of millions of dollars to build and sustain a much-needed center for nonprofit organizations dedicated to health and wellness. Hoag and its board of directors are fully committed to partnering with Irvine on this project, and they're now in the process of completing all necessary due diligence. Irvine's Center for Nonprofit Organizations will be modeled after the very successful Melinda Hoag Smith Center for Healthy Living, located near Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach. The idea is to locate a similar center on a few acres of land at our 36-acre Heritage Park in central Irvine to best serve our entire Irvine community. I want to, of course, take this opportunity to publicly thank the Hoag Hospital Board of Directors for their extraordinary gift. In particular, I want to thank Hoag Hospital CEO Robert Brathwaite, who has championed this initiative from way back. Joining us tonight from Hoag is Randy Rugier. Is Randy here? There we are. Randy is a Senior Vice President with Hoag Hospital. We so appreciate what you're doing, not just for the Irvine community, but for the larger Orange County community with this gift. All right, that was a good applause line. There have been a number of good applause lines tonight. My son told me he had a good one for me, and I'm going to give it to you right now. I only have 10 minutes to go in this speech. All right, we're on to category 5. Yes, We aspire to be the safest, smartest, greenest, and healthiest city in America. How about becoming the kindest city in America as well? I thought I'd hear silence, the expression of the doubters who were asking themselves, what in the world is he talking about? Some kind of kumbaya notion here of how we can and should all get along? Well, kind of, but a little more directed than that. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I'm taking this opportunity to call on all of us as Irvine civic leaders and participants in government, and yes, citizens everywhere, to model kindness. Kindness is not a show of weakness. On the contrary, it's a show of strength. Let's apply the lessons and values we were taught by our parents and teachers to talk respectfully to one another, even when we disagree, maybe especially when we disagree. To be especially kind and helpful and generous toward others who are struggling or in need of our help. Institutions can be about kindness too. Here in Irvine, we're blessed with nonprofit organizations whose mission is kindness and helpfulness. I think of Families Forward, Human Options, the Assistance League, Working Wardrobes, Friends of Outreach for Senior Citizens, and many, many more. Businesses, profit-making businesses, even big corporations, can and do show kindness as well. And yes, government at its best demonstrates programmatic kindness, for example, by helping see to it that people don't go hungry and that people don't go without housing. Most people don't know that Irvine is home to two hugely important related organizations, Harvest Solutions Farm and Second Harvest. These organizations distribute nutritious vegetables grown on 45 acres of very productive farmland right here in Irvine. With help from scores of wonderful Irvine volunteers, Irvine Solutions and Second Harvest see to it that outstanding produce is distributed to many tens of thousands of Orange County residents in need. In what would be an act of great kindness and generosity on our part, in the weeks ahead, I will be urging our Irvine City Council, representing the people of Irvine, to embrace a bold food and nutrition security plan. Under this plan, our city would provide additional Irvine farmland and funding to quickly scale up food production in Irvine. This, in turn, would enable us to soon join with Harvest Solutions and Second Harvest and all the other food banks in Orange County in declaring that because of our enhanced efforts, Orange County, California, America's 6th largest metropolitan county, has finally become 100% food and nutrition secure. Now, I'd like to point to an example of kindness in business and government as it relates to housing. Of course, most of us know we are in the midst of an affordable housing crisis here in Irvine and throughout Orange County and most of California. Irvine is not new to the struggle to provide affordable housing. In fact, our city has pioneered the provision of affordable housing from its earliest days. So far, after 5 decades, we've managed to produce more than 5,000 permanently affordable housing units, mostly apartment units with steeply discounted rents to accommodate lower income households. I also want to let you know tonight that through negotiations with the Irvine Company, we are putting an additional 2,750 new affordable housing units in the pipeline to be delivered in the next few years. But as we all know, we can't wait a few years to receive those. So the question is whether our existing programs are enough, and they aren't. I believe we need to grow the number of affordable housing units in Irvine to 10,000 and quickly. We can't do this through new development alone, a typically long and tedious process. But we can do it by negotiating right now with the Irvine Company, Irvine's major apartment owner, to bring about what I call instant affordability. This involves negotiating right now for dramatically discounted rents, first on hundreds and soon on thousands of existing apartment units. I'm pleased to report tonight that even before new negotiations begin in earnest, the Irvine Company is making dozens of existing apartment units immediately available on an instant affordability basis. These will be for designated Irvine families. Typically, they're working families with children enrolled in Irvine schools. But these specific school children have been identified as having an extremely unstable housing status. These families may live in nearby motels, or they are temporarily doubled up or tripled up with others in Irvine, or they sleep in cars or vans or in our parks. My hope and belief is that as we work in partnership with the Irvine Company this spring and summer, we will begin scaling up a comprehensive instant affordability program that will guarantee that no child in Irvine ever again experiences homelessness. There are 3 senior executives from the Irvine Company here with us this evening. I'd like to have them stand if they would and be recognized. Jeff Davis. We've been engaged in many fruitful discussions with Jeff over the years, and we look forward to more fruitful ones to come. Michelle Grande and Jamie Yoshida should be recognized as well. We want you to know that we value our partnership for affordable housing and the chance through our work together to show what it means to be among America's kindest cities. I don't think that's a moniker that the Irvine Company has exploited before, has it? All right. Well, you'll be able to do it now. All right, now here's another applause line. In conclusion, well, finally, at long last, the political campaigns of 2024 are over. There we are. And while there is one seat, District 5, on our expanded city council yet to be filled in the April 15th special election, my hope is that we can put the campaigning and politicking and the partisanship behind us for a while. and that we can, for the balance of this year and hopefully even beyond, focus on the nonpartisan hard work of governing. Working together, let's demonstrate to ourselves, to our constituents, and to everyone else that we are serious, focused, and committed to doing all that we can to make Irvine the safest, smartest, greenest, healthiest, and kindest city in America. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We are technically still in a council meeting, and my last act for the evening will be to say, meeting adjourned. Thank you.